Hi, welcome to my Scrappin' Space. I'm Joni Martin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Southwest Wisconsin. And today I'm here to show you a Christmas card using probably my favorite suite in the holiday catalog, or July to December catalog as we now call it. It's called the Boughs of Holly. I'm going to use the dies, the stamp set, and the paper, and it's just stunningly beautiful. I can't wait to share it with you. Thanks for joining me. Here's the pretty card I'm going to show you how to make. There's so much I love about this card. You know, I get to make a lot of Christmas cards in my business just to share ideas with people. I think this is the one I'm sending out this year. I so love it. I'm going to show you today how to add some texture to this beautiful background paper, and I'm going to show you this right here. Why is that? You know, it's just a little piece in the die that's kind of confusing, and I'll show you how I do that. So as I said, I'm working with the suite Boughs of Holly. It includes a beautiful paper pack. You can find it on page 24 and 25 of the July to December mini. Today we're going to use the paper pack, the dies, and the pretty stamp set. The paper pack includes all kinds of gorgeous Christmas papers. And look at all the colors they go with. That's another bonus when you're looking at a paper pack. So we're going to use this one, but there's lots of other cards I'm going to end up creating from this paper pack because I love it so much. Let's look at the bundle. And again, you save a little if you buy the bundle, which means you buy a stamp set and coordinating die. The stamp set is called Leaves of Holly, and today I'm going to use 2 of the greetings, but I could also be stamping leaves. There's so much in here. We're going to use Season's Greetings and From Our Home to Yours. Look at the dies. It has 2 labels. Labels are always a hit. This one has leaves attached, and it's actually this gold piece right here, and there's the other one. And I'm going to show you how to use these open leaves. All right, should we get started on our card? We're going to set this aside. So this card begins with a real red card base. Now this color also has Poppy Parade in it, so you could pick or choose. All of my numbers, measurements, directions, supply list, you can find on my blog underneath this video. We're going to begin by folding our card base in half. For me, I get it straighter if I start using my grid paper. That's just easier for me. So I'm going to fold it, and then I'm going to grab a bone folder and just give it a nice tight fold. Let's set that aside. Now, if you're sending a card this beautiful, we're not going to send it in a naked envelope. We want our envelope to look like kind of enticing, like someone can't wait to open our envelope first. So here's what I do. I pick some component from my card and add it to my envelope. Maybe I stamp something, or with this pretty paper, let me show you how I decorate my envelope flap. So I'm going to take a strip of 2 1/4 by 6, and I'm going to add it to this envelope flap. Notice how I kind of fold it back? This will help me get it tight to the fold. This one doesn't really have an up and down print. Well, I guess kind of. If it does, you want the up to be at the top of the flap. Just a touch of green glue. Green glue is your best adhesive for this because what you want to make sure is you need adhesive all the way around. So there's nowhere for like the postal machine to get in there and catch it. So see how I have it going all the way around? That's actually more glue than I usually use. You don't need that much. So here's the top. There's the top of my envelope. I'm going to do it this way so you can see. This is forming like a wall, and I'm going to push that paper into that, and we'll set that aside and let it dry. Okay, let's talk then about the stamping. We'll do that next. I'm going to stamp the front and the inside at the same time because we're going to be efficient. I stamp with the Stamparatus all the time. So I've drawn on my Stamparatus grid paper what I want to go on the inside, and I've drawn the shape of the label for the outside so I know where to put it. So I have a 4 by 5 1/4, which is pretty standard. Before I attach it, I'm going to make sure that I have my paper tight in the corner because that's where it was when I drew my lines. And then I'm going to use my magnets to hold both pieces down, and we're going to stamp both of them at the same time. Let's be efficient with our card making. So that's going to go there. I'm grabbing Mossy Meadow. And if you can have the plate, this clear part, lay flat, it's just easier to ink it. So I'm going to put my stamp case under there. You'll notice that I tend to use ink spots. They're just easier for me to use, but you could also use a full ink pad. What you want to do is use a light touch when you're inking. Sometimes people think if I push really hard, I'm going to get more ink on my stamp and I'll get a better image. You're really just pushing ink away from your stamp, and so it works against you. With the Stamparatus, if you don't get as dark as you want, you just stamp it again. Now I'm going to set this down, and I notice that right there, my magnet's going to catch it, and we don't want that. That looks better. Now this is where you want to use some muscle. So I'm going to push down pretty hard here. And let's see how we did. From Our Home to Yours looks lovely. Season's Greetings looks lovely. We're done. Done in one. That's great. And look at that. We have both of them done at the same time. Now, when I'm working and doing a lot, I clean it when I'm done. I'll clean it later, I promise. But you don't need to watch me clean this. All right. Now that our stamping's done, let's go back and talk about our card front. I have the beautiful paper, and I don't know if you can see, but it has some texture, and that just adds such an elegant touch, and it's so easy to do. Let me show you what I did. I took my print paper, and I attached it to my card mat, like this. But I want to show you something first about my card mat. Look at all the holes I have in it. I die cut the leaves and the background piece for this from here first. You're not going to see it, and it's just a great way to use that paper. So I'm going to attach here. The only thing you want to remember is I don't want to put adhesive through here because it's going to go right there. I think I'm going to grab a tape runner for that. That's just what I like to use. You could also use your glue, whatever adhesive you're most comfortable with. This is our Seal Plus tape runner. It's really strong. And again, probably more than I would need here. And this is our standard 4 by 5 1/4. This is 1/8 less. So it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. But again, all those numbers are on my blog, which you can find under this YouTube video. Now that's really pretty, but let's bump it up a little bit. I grabbed the gingham embossing folder, and when you're using our embossing folders, always fold first. We want our Stampin' Up! Logo there, and then Stampin' Up! Was kind enough to include this line in there, so I know I have it straight. With this design, it doesn't matter so much, but sometimes it really does. Let's grab our cut and emboss and do some embossing. It's just going to make such a difference. Now, whether you're using a cut and emboss or a big shot, the directions will vary in terms of your plates. So for me, this is a standard embossing folder, meaning it's not too thick. So if I'm using a standard embossing folder, I want plate 1, which I have, and 2 plate 3s. Sometimes my plates get to look pretty grody. Look at that. These are perfect for embossing because nothing will transfer. They still work. I probably just wouldn't die cut a new piece of white paper with them. So I'm making a sandwich. Clear plate down, embossing folder, fold first, and then another clear plate. And then I'm just going to run it through. My machine is moving a little bit because I have it on paper. It would work better if I had it right on my table. Okay. Now I'm going to move this just because I'm hitting the camera, and you don't need that. That's all we need. We're going to fold this back up. And let's look at what we did. Isn't that pretty? It may not pick up on camera. You're just going to have to trust me on this. It just really brings a whole new dimension. Okay, we're going to add it to our card base, and then we're going to build up these beautiful leaves. So this is going here. See, you don't even see the holes in the back. I'm going to do this. Again, I'm being a little more generous than I need. That's okay. So this happens sometimes with a tape runner. It wants to catch that paper, but look at, you just lay it back down. And if you're concerned about it, come the other way with it, and that will really lay it down. So now, can you tell I have help in the background? We're busy putting some toolkits together for our customers. There we go. All right. Isn't that pretty? Let's do the inside next, and then we'll build our leaves on the front. So I have From Our Home to Yours. And honestly, it's a pretty small greeting, and I think it looks a little boring. Let me just show you a quick trick. This is a scrap left over from when I cut those envelope flaps. I'm going to add it to my card. I'm going to grab the green glue, and you don't need much, just a little thin line. And then I'm going to use my grid paper to make sure I get it straight. So these squares are 1/4 inch. I'm going to go down 1. See this thick black line? That's my guide. And I'm going to lay it down, lining it up there and there. I'm going to flip it over and just push it down. Look at that. All of a sudden, that looks a lot better. We're going to quick trim it. Like so. Do you usually have people working with you when you're crafting? I'm lucky enough to have 2 amazing student helpers who come when they get done with early release and help me out. And one of them is here redoing toolkits. That's that little noise you hear in the background. I'm so grateful for the help. So now that we've kind of brought that up a notch, we're going to do this. There we go. And then when you lay it in here, look at that. It just kind of brings some continuity from the front of your card, and it's just something that brings it up just a touch. Okay, let's talk about putting this together. These are your pieces. Look at this paper. This is from the Textured Chic suite. I love it. It has a ton of dimension, but it's not very heavy. That's nice. And so if you just assemble it this way, it gets a little distracting with those open leaves back there. So when you die cut, you have this little piece and you're kind of like, what is that for? That is for this. And the flat end goes to the flat side, okay? So you're just kind of lining it up like so. And you just, what you really do is just move it around till you see that the green has filled in all the holes. And once you get it there, and you can, sometimes easier to do it from the back actually. I'm going to grab just a touch of tear and tape to hold it in place. It's so open on the front, there's really nowhere to get green glue in there. And that's all you need, because now you're going to glue it flat with these leaves. So I start with my bigger one and then kind of add in this smaller one. I open them up, then I lay down where I want this to go. See how I kind of have it in between the two? There's not a right or a wrong. Just play with it till it looks good. Grab that tear and tape again. Only this time, we're kind of going to start at the leaves and go all the way across because it's going to attach it to our card for us. So we'll both hold down the leaves and hold this beautiful gold label to my card front. Like so. Now, if you're like me and you got it a little long, let me show you what we're going to do with it. First, we're going to peel it back. I'm using my Take Your Pick tool. And then I'm going to take just this part that was too long and push it back. So now it's not sticking out in this opening. That comes off. This one comes off. And then let's decide where we want it on our card. Again, if I start my card straight, I'm more likely to get everything else on. Isn't that gold? Just do something for that card. It's like, wow. So that's going to go there. And see, nothing's moving. So all we have left is Season's Greetings. I'm going to grab some of our mini dimensionals. The regular size would probably work too. And just pop this up. Nothing else is popped up on our card. I'm being a little generous here with dimensionals. Probably 3 would be plenty. And then I'm going to take the back off. Like so. I love the gold in this card. I love the embossing in the card. I just think without a lot of work, it looks like just an elegant, pretty Christmas card. And that's what we want, isn't it? And then I'm lining this up kind of centered there. You can put it wherever you want. All right. Check that out. Our Christmas card is done. Let's finish our envelope. And again, this is from the Boughs of Holly suite in the July to December mini. You can find item numbers and everything else on my blog post. Thanks for watching my YouTube. If you like what you saw, I'd really appreciate if you'd share it with other paper crafting friends. And be sure and hit that subscribe button so you know when I have a new video out. There we go. Beautiful envelope flap, stunning card front if I say so myself, and look at that lovely insert. Thanks for joining me. Until our next video, take care, stay well, and keep crafting. It's good for you.